I'm Kylie, and today's tutorial, it is carrying on from a tutorial I did 2 or 3 days ago. That was a polka dot repeat swatch in Adobe Illustrator. So this one is how to create a fairly simple repeat print swatch or repeat swatch in Adobe Illustrator. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Essentially, what I'm going to do today is I've already pre-drawn the motifs, some flowers, some spots for the background, and some leaves. And we will use this artboard. This artboard is, let's have a little look. It is 100 by 100 millimeters or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. A little bit bigger over, it's another half size bigger again than the one we used for the polka dot. Generally, I like to do it in 100 mils. You've just got a little bit more area and it seems to suit the, the task quite well. So let's get started. First, I'll just show you a little, this is what we are going to do. Essentially, as I said, we're going to arrange these motifs onto the artboard, and it's going to end up looking a little bit like this. And over here, this is what the print swatch looks like. I've just masked off clipping masked off the area. You can see here all of these elements that lie outside of the square. I've just clipping masked off because I want to show you how the repeat print works. Because when you end up dropping this into your swatch palette at the very end to create your swatch, Illustrator basically clips off all of the outside so that only the items, the elements that remain inside the square are visible. So everything that lies outside of the square becomes invisible. And I'll show you what I mean. I'll just zoom in a little bit and I'm just going to copy this. Okay, hold on, back step. This square is a repeat square. It's designed to repeat on each side of this square. So if I replicate, copy this square up to there, to there, to there, and to there, it will create a flowing, seamless print design. So if I show you what I mean, I'll copy and paste each to each side, and you'll see what I mean. I'm just using Option or Alt and Shift at the same time. You can see, and I can, and I can drag them off to the side, and my smart guides help me. Clip it into place, snap it into place, and here, and here, and this should be creating a perfectly seamless repeat. I haven't got that one right. It's just a matter, you got to copy it right into the right place. So if I just get that one, yeah, it's looking, it's annoying. Maybe that one's not working. Maybe that one's not. Hold on. There you go, that's better. I must have just moved it slightly. There you go. All right, so there we go. So you can see what I've done there. That was my center square, and I've repeat my print and my square, and I've repeated it on each side of the square, and then I filled in the corners. And you can see it creates a lovely, flowing, very simple, wildflower print, and the leaves sort of give it a bit of direction there. And this is a 360 repeat, so no matter which way I'll just hold on, I'll grab that at the corner. No matter which way we rotate it, it doesn't really have an up and down direction. So I'll do that again. You can see what I mean? So ultimately, what we want to do is create a seamless print, so that if you're thinking about print design, so that when it's rolled out, hundreds of meters of fabric, that when garments pattern pieces are laid out on the fabric, you can lay a pair of pants or a skirt or a top or a sleeve, any way on the fabric, pretty much up and down, and it's not really going to matter because it's going in multi directions. And when you sew the pieces together, it sort of keeps that flowing print design. So we call this is a 360 print. So let's get started. What I'll do is I'll just drag that off to the side a bit. And okay, so let's start. Let's start with the base fabric, the base color. So grab your rectangle, make it 100 by 100. Okay, all right. We do not want an outline, and color it in whatever color you choose. So I've got this kind of cornflower blue, and I'm just snapping it into the artboard. I suppose you saw how I do. I just zoom in case you weren't sure about what I just did then. All I did was use it in my selection tool. I just very gently, snapped it into my artboard, and you can see it's sort of intersected there in the corner, just like in the polka dot. Now, the next stage, and this is a crucial part of your creating your print swatch. If you don't do this, your print swatch will not work because it does not have a boundary to make a clipping mask on the... So anyway, I'll tell you what I mean. It's probably going to be a mumbo jumbo, but if you've watched the polka dot, it should make sense. However, I'm going to copy, so I've selected this square and I'm going to Control C and Control B. B stands for back, Control C, and then B is paste to the back. So over here, no fill. So if I'll just show you there, you've got your top layer is your color and your bottom layer is you can see there, no fill. It's a transparent layer that lies behind the blue square. And it's essential to create, essentially, it acts as a clipping mask, and it masks off all of those motifs that are lying on the outside of the square. So if you don't put that transparent square on the back, it will not work. Okay, so let's go. Let's start arranging these motifs onto the square. So what I like to do is I'll drag some of these down. I like to, I'm not sure which ones I've used. I've replicated some of these and just turned them or rotated them around so as to save drawing, but some of them are just, some of them are unique from the other two. So what I'll do is I'm not going to make it exactly like this, but I'm just going to show you how I pretty much get, what I'm going to do is I might need to, just give me a sec. I'm just going to copy and paste all these motifs to the front. Range, bring to the front. I was just finding you saw that then when I put my daisy on there that it, placed it behind the square here, but actually I want them just a bit of a pain if I have to do them individually. So I just wanted them all just sit on the front. So on the top. All right, so let's have a look. What I like to do is I like to start with the outside. So I do not place anything on these corners. You'll end up in trouble. You'll end up like a polka dot. You can't, you're very limited and you end up with a very static repeat. So if you want it to be free-flowing and moving, keep your motifs away from the corners. Do not place them on the corners. So you can place them on either sides. That's fine. But just don't place them on the corners. So let's go. So we're going to place everything on here like this. You can actually start, sometimes I start with doing the background first, like not the background, sorry, doing all the little spots first. And I've didn't do that this time, so, but you can do that. You can start with the spots first if that's better. But oops, that's not right. So yeah, okay, I'm just going to start like this, but I'm going to add the spots in a minute. So let's go. It doesn't make too much difference. What I'm going to do now is, okay, so everything that sits on, set your keyboard, hold on, backspace, set your keyboard increments to the width and height of your square, which is, whoops, 100. All right. Like with the polka dot, we are going to copy and paste each element. Like the polka dot, we copy and paste, and we move the elements across the width and height of the square. But in this case, it's kind of like that, but it's slightly evolved, the concept, and we copy and paste, but we copy and paste to the opposite side. So what I mean is that everything that lies outside of the square, so this is the inside of the square obviously, and this is the outside of the square, the outside areas. So everything that sits outside of the square must be replicated over to the other side, inside of the square. So I'll show you what I mean. Control C, Control F to copy and paste to the front, and then I right arrow over, and you can see that it's placed my flower motif 100 mils precisely over to the other side of the square. So everything that sits outside of the box, like this part of the flower here, right? That part of the flower is actually now sitting on the inside of the box there. So everything, the flower, the bits that stick, the petals that stick outside of the box are now replicated over the other side, on the opposite side, on the inside of the box. So let's do it with this one. Control C, Control F, and right arrow over. Control C, Control F, and right arrow over. And so all of those parts of the flower are now on the inside of the box over here. And we're going to do the same with the top. So you could, if you got multiple copies, you could, you know, select, hold down Shift and select, make a multiple selection, Control C, Control F, and paste them down there. Yep, that's looking all right. So what I wouldn't mind doing is actually moving, I wouldn't mind moving these ones over a little bit. So if you want to, you need to, whatever you do to this one has to be done to this one. So because it has to be, that flower has to lie exactly on the other side of the square. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select them both. I'm actually just going to, with my mouse, just drag it over slightly, just so I've got a little bit more distance between there and there. Actually, what I'd like to do is rotate this flower a bit. So I'm going to rotate it around this way. All right. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. Hold down Shift to constrain the proportions of the flower. Maybe just a little bit like that. Okay, so what you might notice is that flower and that flower don't match. So delete off the bottom flower and just Control C, Control F, and Control C, Control F, and arrow down. There you go. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, what I might do now, so we've got all of our flowers that are sitting on the edges and have parts that poke outside the square are now replicated on their opposite side. So we've got that one, 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 that one. Perfect. That's what we want. Now I want to just add some of these spots. So, you know, I'm going to do this fairly quickly, and it's probably not going to be as good as that one over there because I don't want to waste too much time showing you, because this is quite tricky, not tricky this bit I should say, it's not tricky at all, it's just a bit tedious and it takes time, and you don't really need to sit here and watch me get all these spots perfect. So let me just quickly drag some of these down. What I'm trying to do here, and this is an important thing to remember, is that when you create the print, the repeat, you need to look at the relationship between the motifs. And what that means is you have to look at the relationship between them is, for me, is the distance between them, how they interact with each other, how do they look beside each other, do they create a flowing, because this is more of an organic garden print, do they create, and I want to keep that organic, free-flowing, 360 degrees feeling and appearance. So you need to make sure that the distance between the relationship between the motifs, and then also the negative space versus the positive space. So the negative space is everything that doesn't have a motif in it. And I'll just keep putting some of these, because it's quite important to remember, because I'll just place them randomly around, and then I'm going to slightly rearrange them just so they kind of look a bit better. But what I will do is, when I randomly place them down, you'll actually start to see and I'm not putting any of the outside of the box yet. I'm only placing them inside these. So at the moment, I'm just dealing with the inside of the square. Remember, once we start putting things on the outside or on the edges, we have to start replicating them on the other side, and we will do that. We need to do that, but we can do that a little bit later. We can do that in a minute as the next kind of step, or a future step in this. So what I just want to show you here is, and I'll just grab some of these, might just lock that spot, lock that flower. So let me just zoom out slightly. Can you see there how we talked about negative and positive space before? You got all these motifs here are positive space, and so are these little white spots, but everything else is negative space. So although negative space is has quite an impact, so you can see there, I can see, if you look long enough and hard enough, you don't have to strain your eyes, you can just see, holes. There are holes in the print. There are holes. There's a big gaping hole here, and there's a hole here, and there's a hole here, and there's a hole here. They look like holes. And when you have these prints repeated, over hundreds of meters of fabric, even over 1 meter area, that these holes become very significant. They look like holes. They create patterns themselves. So dealing with your negative space is really important. So unless this is your intention to create these kind of holes, then and carefully craft your print to incorporate that, then that's fine. But if it's not, it just looks like, but if it's not, you just, if it's accidental, it's going to look accidental. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just arrange these spots, and you can copy and paste some of these spots over, and I'm filling up this negative space. So your print may be a print that has maybe a floral print, and it may have swirling branches in the background, or paisleys, or stripes even, and I can rotate some of these little spots as well. It's a bit hard, you have to zoom in to rotate them. So whatever it is that you're filling up, that you're using as a background, think about the relationship between the motifs, and then think about the negative space. So I'll just keep filling in some of these bits. And you can start to see that some of those bits are definitely, and you can see that when some of those bits, because I clustered them up together, they look a bit, you know, clustered. Doesn't look quite right. And yeah, so although we want it to look random, it's kind of a curated random, isn't it? It's not really random. It's really anything but random. But hold on, I'm just going to lock that flower as well, and then create. Yeah, so yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I'll zoom out in a sec, and you'll start to see the impact of just moving around these little motifs and how it has visibly changed. Whoops, I might just lock. Why don't you lock both of your backgrounds? So what I'll do is I'll show you, select those two squares, the transparent one and the base, the top one here, and then go File, where is it? Object, Lock Selection. I always just use the shortcuts, but I think it's good to show you guys how to just do it, and then we can unlock it if we want. But this just allows you to, you know, make, and I'll just, well, if you want to know the shortcut, it's Command or Control 2. But I just think it's just a bit easier because sometimes your background moves when you're making these movements, and you've got it perfectly placed on the artboard, so you might as well just keep it there. All right, and all right, just won't be long. Let's just arrange some of these. And look, I'll just zoom out for a sec so you can see. Yep, you can see that it's already changing, significantly changed. Those holes that were there before are disappearing. So what I can do is I like to sometimes just copy and paste clusters, and you can rotate them if you want them to sort of, depending on what you want the area to, what the area needs, and also, you know, if you're worried about sort of a repetitive look. So just simple movements like rotating an object that is the same, and it's sort of sitting near the original object, and you've copied and pasted it. You can actually make it look very different, and it kind of saves you drawing something else as well. So I've got a kind of a swirling scenario happening here, and I'm just going to copy and paste some of these over here, and some more of these. All right, so I'm going to I'll just get a smaller selection, that one and that one, maybe that one. I'll put that there. I'm not going to completely finish this because, as I said, I don't want to bore you all. But because really, when you're doing your own ones, it's going to take you a while. You know, it takes a while to create these things. Unless you're some kind of I don't know, unless you do this, but this is for learners. So unless this is your profession, unless you're just super good at this, it's going to take you a while to get this right, and to a point where you're even remotely happy with it. So here we go. All right, so let's just have a look at that. You can see now that those holes have started disappearing. So what I need to do now is, there are some, I've got these little spots, but I'm not going to worry about those for the time being. So now I just want to deal with the outside. So if I repeated that right now, I would have gaping areas of negative space. So what I want to do is just make sure that you're going to stretch out, and I would fill in these areas as well, but I'm not going to today. But you want to start bringing out some of these spots to the very edges, like so. And you need to bring them out over the edge. And remember, I'll just grab some more. Remember, when you bring something out to the edge, what you need to do is you need to repeated on the other side. So let's grab all these ones and Control C, Control F, and I'll paste them up there. Even the spots need to be replicated. Anything that sits on the edge of the square and has parts that poke out of the square, sit on the outside, need to be replicated, duplicated to the opposite side. So why don't you do that, and I'll just do some of these other ones, just so that when I actually do this, finish this repeat of it, and make the swatches actually not going to look really stupid, because it's probably going to look a bit weird if I just didn't fill them in and I showed you what an amazing print this is, and really it's not that amazing. So I'll just grab those two, Control C, Control F, go to the other side. What did I do there? I got one there, Control C, Control F, and I paste it over to that side. I've got one there and one there. So let's put one here, Control C, Control F, over to the other side. Maybe that little one there, that little guy there. Control C, Control F, over there. And inevitably you will kind of miss some, like you'll put some, but when you test your print you'll work that out. Control C, Control F, and then paste up to the other side. And when you test your print, you'll work out where you went wrong, and you can easily, like i.e. you put one there but you didn't put one there. These are some of the sort of things that you're going to have to work out when you're testing your print, because they will happen. So if things do start to go wrong, you're thinking, why isn't it working? Why isn't the repeat looking right? Just look and make sure, test one check point would be to make sure that everything that sits outside of the square, has a duplicate on the other side. So everything that sits on the bottom is duplicated on the top. Everything that sits on the right is duplicated on the left. So that would be my little tip, would be to check that. And so just lastly, I'll just do this one, Control C, Control F, and copy it to the other side. And I'll move some of these over there and that one there. All right. Okay, so this is not going to be perfect, but it's all right. It'll be fine for this. Okay, so what we want to do now, what's going on there? Okay, I might just move that little thing away. See? It's a bit weird. So, all right. Okay, so what I do now is you want to fill in the inside of the square with your rest of your flowers. Oops, put that one there maybe. Put that one there because I've got a bigger one and some smaller ones. That would look good. And this one's a slightly different shape, which is cool. The only thing you have to do here, I guess, is move out some of those. I might lock it. Some of those things look a bit, you can see them blobbing out underneath, and they look a bit, some of them might look fine sitting under there, but some of them are just going to look like it's not right. And I suppose that depends on the individual person, whether or not you think it looks right or not. But I tend to get a bit pedantic about these things. Maybe a bit too much though, if the truth be told. All right, so you can see there's a little one poking out there, but I'm going to let that go. I'm just going to let it go. It's good to practice letting go. All right, so here we go. Maybe that one. Okay, so I need to unlock that. So, all right, so here we go. I'm going to copy and paste that one to there, and then I'm going to rotate it round to about there. All right, so you can see you can have the same thing. I'm not going to do it all, but you can see I have to, you're going to get rid of all those spots from underneath. Okay, so I'm just going to not do that right now, but you could clear that up and clean that up yourselves. All right, so why don't I try, hold on, let me just move that. I might just downsize that a bit. So at this point now, you're going to look at like the relationship between the motifs. Do you need to rotate any? Are they looking good together, etc.? You want some small ones against some larger ones, just to give it a bit of variation and depth. So why don't I've unlocked everything, why don't I, just as it is, drop this into the swatch palette. So make sure with your selection tool, select everything, marquee over everything, and drag it in. You can see there, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see any whiteness on the outside. I'll just lock that and I'll delete off the transparent backing, and I'll just paste it in without that clipping mask on the back. And can you see now that it's looking significantly different there? Interesting. Might look at that. So that's not what you want. You want it to be lovely, and just telling you now, you probably don't understand, but when you go to do yours, you will understand. So I'll just undo those, and let me just come over here. I'm just going to make a big rectangle. I'm going to, there you go, fill my rectangle. So you can fill your garment just like you would any other color. You fill it with the pattern swatch, and you can see, I can see that's repeating very well. So at this point you might say, oh, you know, I want this one to move here over this way a little bit, and to fill in that space there, or maybe that one, they're too close, or that one could be made smaller, etc. So at this point you would make those sort of changes. Where is that one? That one there is that one. So that one and that one could come over this way a little bit, perhaps, to improve the look of it. Maybe that one, what did we say, could be a little bit smaller? Maybe that could move in a bit. All right, let's have a look. Just for you know, have a bit of fun. Let's just have a look and see if it makes, what kind of a difference that makes. So you'll be doing this to your print, right? Making these subtle but significant changes. Let me just get rid of that and have a look. So some of you will be looking at this and going, I can't even tell the difference. And some of you will be going, oh wow, that makes a huge difference. Like me, I think it looks like a huge difference. So anyway, you get my drift. You will be making these subtle and little refining your motifs on the page, refining your print in this way. And then you can redraw out a big rectangle like I did, and just to have a look at what it looks like in over a large area, how the print's repeating, how the swatch is repeating over a large area. So this is looking pretty good. The negative space is looking good. You know, we would be filling in these spots and so on if I was completing this to perfection, but I'm not. So only other thing I want to show you is just how it looks when we add, and so I'll get rid of that one. Don't like that. And what I like to do is that one that I didn't get rid of that. I want. Actually, maybe I could show you what that one that's not right looks like. Oh, what happened? It's a bit weird, isn't it? Why did it? I thought it looked a bit strange. Okay, that's sort of not worked at all, but don't worry about that. Let's just get rid of that, and then get rid of that by dragging it into the bin so it's gone. Good to clear out, otherwise this gets good to clear out your swatch palette, otherwise it gets so full of things and then you become unsure of which print is the good one and which one isn't. So last but not least is I just want to arrange these leaves in a, you know, a sort of a meandering kind of pattern across, but you know, across the square. So what I'm going to aim to do, what I've got in my mind, is I'm going to use those leaves to join the flowers together and to sort of create movement for my eye to follow. When you create a print, you're always looking at where does the eye land. If it's just landing, you want it to sort of, if it's just, is it jumping around the place, confused and not sure where to go, or is it gently meandering down the garden path, flowing nicely through the print. Your eye doesn't really rest on one thing. It's continuously flowing your eyes around the area. And you know, this is important because this ends up on a garment. You may want your eye to jump around the place, but in this type of print, we're not doing that. So just have a think about what you want to achieve in your print. So grab some of these motifs from here. I'm just going to randomly place them on and then see what they look like and move them around a bit. So maybe, oh yeah, I can join maybe those three together. So look like this. I might just do that. I'm just going to use the easy rotate that sits on the bounding box of when I select the motif. So let me just do that. Look, if you want to do a bit of rotation, you can use your rotation tool. Where is it? There it is, rotate. So if you put your rotation, there's a little, I'll call this an axis point. So if you put that there, and then you can rotate, you can see that my object rotates around that axis point or rotation point. So you can actually use that to get a bit of rotation, because I want to keep that point part of the stem there, but I want to just move that. Remember, it was out here. I just want to move it closer to the center of the flower. So why don't I just right click and arrange, bring to the front. Yeah, okay. And bring that one to the front as well. Bring to the front. And yeah, maybe I can bring that one down so the stem kind of disappears under there. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, let's not get too, that's not looking good. Alright, I won't get too caught up in this, but this is what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve, okay, that's good. You want to be happy with these locations, the way that it's looking on your page. So I'll place that there. I'll get that rotation tool again, place the axis point there and move that over to there. I'm going to right click, arrange, and bring that one to the front. And I've got these last two, and I've repeated some of these and rotated them as well. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab this one to, my eye is going to sort of, actually I want it to kind of go, maybe that's in the wrong direction. I want it to kind of come around here and maybe do a bit of this business. So let's grab these and arrange and bring them to the front. Like so. And what I might do is rotate this one around a bit. So let's try put my rotation point there using the rotate tool and just do a bit of this business. And as you notice, it's also filling a bit of the negative space in between the flowers too. So the stems go from here to here, and then what I might do is I can rotate this one around as well. I can keep continuing to improve on this flow that I'm trying to achieve. And I can also do something like this. Grab the motif here. I can copy it down there, holding down Alt or Option, and you can actually not only rotate, but you can, which makes it look a little bit different, but you can actually right click and reflect it. And reflecting significantly changes, so I can have it there and there, and it it doesn't really make, I might put it over here actually. You can't really, you're not bothered by the fact that it's the same motif. Your eye doesn't really recognize that straight away. You might even make it a bit smaller. Alright, so these are the types of choices that you might make. I also might select all of those and just move that down slightly. So, alright, one more thing. I'm just going to put a little bit, maybe I might move this one up here over to there. I might I might actually do that. I might put that there. I might move that away. And then I might put this one. I don't want it to be too close to that one. So I might see what that looks like there. But I might, again, rotate that. So where's my rotation tool? Yeah. Actually, that's okay, that rotation point for the sec. I might just try that. And then I will bring this one and this one, arrange, and bring to the front. Okay, so once again, you know, I really need to get rid of some of these bits underneath. I'll just lock that. It's really annoying me. See, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. Okay. All right, so I could really I could really improve on all that. But I won't. Okay, lock. There we go. So now that you've added all these, you are going to have to make, you know, these types. You're going to have to move some of these spots out of the way, etc., to perfect your print. And I'm just going to move this, so I can't help myself, slightly out of the way. And let's just have a little look. It's not perfect, but let's just have a little look and see what it looks like. So we'll drop it in the swatch box and we'll finish up this for today. So drop it in. Oh, okay. Did I delete the background? No, what's happened? Yeah. Let me just suss out what's going on here, because you're going to come up with these issues yourself. Alright, so it looks like the transparent boxes somehow on the front, somehow I moved it to the front. So inevitably when yours doesn't work, you will go, what's happened? Is my transparent box at the front, or is it at the back where it belongs? So where is it? Arrange, send to the back. Okay, so now let's have a go. Select everything that's there, marquee around it, say selected everything and drop it in. Oh my god, it's still not even working. Let's just have a look what is going on. Why is it going that grey colour? Okay, maybe I unlock it. Maybe that was the problem. Okay. Yeah, maybe it was the fact that I locked it. So don't forget to unlock it, everyone. I did tell you to lock it in the beginning, and then you will also need to unlock it. But this is good because, you know, you'll be doing these things as well, making these mistakes. All right, drop it in. All right, that is looking very good, my friends. So let's have a little look. I'll just copy and paste that rectangle, and I'll do this. There you go. So you can see there now how, you know, how it looks significantly different from here. So, I mean, that print's good on its own, but, you know, just adding another level of complexity, another sort of element to it can really dramatically change the appearance of the print. So I would be at this point, before I wrap it up, guys and girls, is that I would be, guys and gals, I would be looking at now how it repeats. So these black bits, you know, I'm thinking that this area here needs to be there's a bit more flow, a little bit of a stem and some leaves could come through here, and that would look much better. So at this point, make these decisions in your mind and then go back to your swatch. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Go back to your swatch and make those adjustments. So that's obviously the area in there. That area there. That's the, I feel that on a larger scale that is kind of, you know, maybe this whole motif here could move over, but something needs to happen. I think that needs a little bit more, needs some more elements in there just to kind of make it work a bit better. So at this point you would make, so where did I say that was? So that one there, no, in there. Yeah, so that's that area. All right. So yeah, you're just going to keep, you know, you're going to make these subtle changes and you're going to adjust until it takes a while, takes a little bit. So I'm just going to make a little change there, and I'll just rotate. We'll just have a little rotation point there. Have a little look. And, you know, maybe this Actually, maybe this could be slightly smaller. And maybe that rotation point, change. Maybe that could come up a bit. So there's going to be a bit more of a gap there, isn't there? Okay. All right. So let me just see if I can. All right. So quickly drop it in, have a look at the difference, and then I won't perfect it. I'll just move on, and I'll just have a look, see if you can tell a difference. There we go. I'll just get rid of those get rid of those panels and toolbar. Yeah, okay, so these, what was it? This area in here hasn't really improved very much. Yeah, this area in here has improved slightly. So there's a slight, yeah, anyway, there's some slight improvements, but you're going to have to keep working on it. All right, everyone, I'm going to finish up. So tab. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand now how to make a repeat print swatch in Illustrator. And start with the polka dot and that I posted a couple of days ago to get your basics, and then move on to your print repeat. And try it with your own motifs. Draw them, image trace them, Google. Some of these leaves I found on Google vector stock, and I image traced them and I used them. I actually drew some of these wildflowers. I drew all the flowers, but in the spots, but I image traced these leaves. So have fun, enjoy, and yeah, see you next time.